Hey guys, Katie Taylor here with a fun layout featuring some pretty old photos of our two oldest boys as part of the Christmas in July video collab with the creative design team. So on my table, I have a bunch of old photos of our two oldest boys. Now, this was back before you took photos with your cell phone. I had to actually edit these, turn them into different filters, if you will. So you'll see some black and whites, some sepia, some other edits, I guess, but I really didn't know what I wanted and really couldn't tell until I actually printed them. And I've also pulled out for the majority of this layout, it's going to be an Echo Park collection called Christmas Time. But I just recently received my green or Season of Green paper from Stampin' Up, and I'm loving these gold tones in there. I think they're going to work really well with the patterns that I've pulled out for this layout. So I am going to clear these away again, really kind of loving the Santa because all of these have the Santa hat. Now, this was a little photo shoot that I did with the boys for our Christmas card that year. And so I'm going to document those and choose the photos. So I've picked out a total of 6 photos, and then you can see here all the ones that I didn't pick out. Now, for the most part, these are the same pose. They're just the different edits. And so I'll either throw those away, gasp, oh my gosh, or ask the boys if they want them. But they were just so repetitive. I didn't feel the need to document those. So I've gone ahead and I've cut 2-inch strips from some patterns from that Echo Park paper collection. And I'm just lining those up. And then, of course, I've got that gold foil from Stampin' Up. Now, my photos are going to go about right there on this left layout. So I'm just using my ruler and I'm going to just draft out a kind of triangle. This is going to serve as a Christmas tree. Now, I know that I wanted that darkest piece about 1 inch off the bottom, and so that's why I brought that out. And then I'm just going to trim this piece of cardstock and then go ahead and cut 1 inch off the bottom. And I've applied adhesive around just the edges because I am going to be doing some machine stitching off camera for these layouts. And if you run your needle through any type of adhesive, it will not only gum up your needle, but it'll also gum up your thread, especially your bobbin thread. So I've just laid these down on this little triangle. I'm going to pull out my paper trimmer and trim the excess off of one of these sides and then use one of those foils just to kind of cap off that top. And then I'm going to trim off the other overhang as well. And then you'll kind of be left with a triangle that resembles a tree, or that's my hope at least. So this gets adhered down to a 12 by 12. You can see there, I've already done the stitching. I'll bring it up closer here in just a second to kind of show you. I'm going to finish the photo mat for the right layout right quick. And those just got adhered down onto an 8 by 8 piece of white daisy cardstock. And I trimmed my photos slightly smaller than 4 by 4. For the left layout, these 4 by 6s are going to go adhered down just to the right of that Christmas tree. And then I'm going to bring out the right layout. And here are these 4 photos. They're absolutely adorable. I use the larger ones on the right. And then I'm going to mat them on these pieces. Now, Texas doesn't get a whole lot of snow, so I have no problem not using the snowflake side, which made it really easy to choose that green and then that red. You'll barely be able to see the red, but it definitely gives that just a nice pop. I have adhered 3D foam tape on the back of this 8 by 8 piece, and then I'm just going to center that onto this photo mat. Now, as is, this photo would be so cute as a one-page layout. But of course, I have this left layout. Now, the left layout is definitely different. So to make the two look cohesive, I need to be adding some red over there, as well as some embellishments that kind of mimic that Santa paper. It's such a statement piece over there on the right. So I have some washi tape that came with the Echo Park kit, and then I also have some ephemera. So I'm just going through those. Now I've already pre-sorted them to what I thought I would use. A lot of this kit was meant for a mini album and some cards, so a lot of these sentiments just aren't going to go. But I have chosen the ones that I thought would go well, and I'm going to add 3D foam tape under that end of this Oh, What Fun. Now, I haven't attached that part that overhangs the photos just yet. I will do that later with some stickers. Now, here are the stickers. I did find an alternative to these boots. One thing about the chipboard pieces that came with this kit, they were not cut properly. They had a whole lot of white space. So actually, the boots and then this sleigh are really the only usable chipboard pieces from this kit that I found. Now I am going to go ahead and add some greenery in the way of holly leaves and such. I'm adding them up against that top right little cluster and then again underneath this Oh What Fun to kind of tie the two in. And then I will also add one on the end of the Oh What Fun, and that's what's going to actually adhere that piece down to my photos. I'm going to also bring those holly leaves over to the left layout. Remember that you want your layouts to look cohesive, especially on something like this where there's just two stark differences. By using your embellishments and your stickers, you can definitely make them look like they belong together. Now I've pulled out the So This Happened stamp set that was part of the release at the beginning of this month in July, as well as the white die cut word strips. Now the stamp set sold out, but the white die cuts have not, and they are a must have in my opinion. They're paperboard, so not as thick as chipboard. And they go so well, they coordinate so well with the stamp set, but you really could use it for anything and any sentiment stamp set that you have on hand for scrapbooking, card making, so on and so forth. It's just that added dimension of that paperboard. I just absolutely love it. So I'm just sizing up some of these images. Now there is a date stamp that I want to use. So I have these three that are shaded. So I decided to go with the smallest. And instead of one of the pennant chipboard pieces or die cut pieces, I'm actually going to use one of the labels. And then I'm going to come back in with the date and ink that up in red. And then it just goes right over that shaded part. So I'm just going to pop that out, clean this up, and then we can start taking a look at these pieces and where they're going to go. So the date, which is 2005, is going to go up at the top. And then I'm going to attach these other ones right over those washi strip tapes right above the boys' photos. And then I'm going to step back and realize that that right page really needs some of that gold. So I just trimmed a piece. I'm going to tuck it under that photo mat. And then that is just going to kind of add that gold over to the right. So for the most part, I'm thinking that we've got the red over on the left. Now we need a Santa. So there was a sticker. I'm going to remove the adhesive from one side of it, add some 3D foam tape, and go ahead and get that adhered down right next to that little 3x4 title card. And then I want to do something to the edge of this layout. So there's this dotted line, kind of this faux stitching, as well as these two little pieces. Now this is meant for a date, but I'm going to use it as a border around this layout. So I'm just lining those up pretty close together, but they have a slight space. I am going to be using Scarlet ink. It is a close to my heart color, but I thought it went really well with these colors. So you can see here, I am just inking up that dotted line and then doing those little marks. And then I'm going to go ahead and span this other layout. And then I am going to really speed this up to get it done. So I'm just using some 3M removable labeling tape. This is what I use for all my stencils. It makes it really easy, but it does have enough of a tack that it stays put. And then I'm going to go ahead and span this right layout and then go ahead and finish off that stamping again, repeating that little border around. And then I have a little star. Now, originally I wanted to put the star in between the little lines around the border, but then I decided to just add that inked up star in that pine ink around those clusters. I wanted something at the top of my tree, so I have this ribbon from Stampin' Up, so I just tied a bow. It is double-sided, so I'm going to kind of have to play with it to make sure that that other side doesn't show, even though it's pretty. I just prefer on my ribbon for one side to show instead of two. So I'm just going to be using glue dots to get that done, and I will trim that left side off in just a little bit. And then this Echo Park kit also came with these enamel dots. So I'm just adding the red. There are 3 sizes, large, medium, and small. And I'm just kind of sprinkling those around those little embellishment clusters and definitely putting some small ones on that date label. For my journaling, I pulled out my Versamat and my T ruler. And this one I'm going to add some pencil marks because once I journal, handwrite, I am going to erase those pencil marks. Now, if you're new here, I don't journal online and I prefer journaling in my handwriting. I lost my father about 10 years ago, and to see his handwriting right now is just something that's so precious to me. So here are some close-up looks of that stitching on that tree, that gold paper from the Season of Green Stampin' Up collection, as well as that stamped border that spans both of these layouts. Again, you can see that gold. I love it, and I love that addition to this layout. And then the stitching that carried over onto this Santa paper. And I'm absolutely thrilled to get these photos documented. I would love to find the Christmas card that actually was these photos were used for. So I might try that. So stay tuned to my social media just in case I do. Here are some close-ups of that. I'll leave links down below to the Stampin' Up! Products, as well as a link to all of my creative design team friends. You can also click on our playlist at the very end of this video that will take you over to all the 2024 videos that we've done so far. Not only do we have very active YouTube channels, but we also are very active here celebrating the creative design team. So you'll find a collab each month. So go ahead and follow and subscribe us if you haven't already. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend.